We talked on yesterday's show about the Tucker Carlson January 6th propaganda piece. And today I have for you even Republicans calling it out for what it is, calling out the dishonesty of it. And it really is just a big distraction, an attempt to fuel conspiracy theories about January 6th, to distract from the reality, the importance of January 6th and what it represented, again, as we talked about yesterday. So we'll dive into these GOP responses, calling out Tucker Carlson in a second here. But first, in case you missed this story, the context is that Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, gave 40,000 plus hours of January 6th security footage exclusively as of now to Tucker Carlson. And it was in the name of transparency, but it's because there's this idea on, or at least within a certain part of the right wing, within the MAGA part of the right wing, that something's being hidden about January 6th. There's some truth that they're not telling us. The Democrats are hiding what actually happened on January 6th. And you've seen me talk with Trump supporters at Trump rallies who believe it was actually Nancy Pelosi and the FBI and Antifa that caused January 6th and framed Trump supporters, or all these different versions of conspiracy theories that attempt to take the blame off of Trump and his supporters for what took place that day. And so this was Tucker Carlson's big moment to look at all the footage and reveal the truth. And so because he's been hyping it up so much, he did his best to kind of take clips and cherry pick and say some other narrative. But it was an obvious faceplant. And it was so bad that even individuals like Mitch McConnell are calling it out. Is calling it out.
The release of this footage. Was it a mistake by Speaker McCarthy to give access to Tucker Carlson of this security footage?
My concern is how it was depicted, which is a different issue. Clearly, the chief of the Capitol Police, in my view, correctly describes what most of us witnessed firsthand on January 6th. So that's my reaction to it. It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
Yeah, deceptive is definitely a word for it. And one of the things Tucker Carlson tried to do in this video that he put out and in his coverage of the security footage was show bits of the footage that were Trump supporters once they were in the Capitol, kind of walking around, taking photos, looking relatively calm. And it was supposed to prove, see, it wasn't a real insurrection. People were calm in the Capitol. They were sightseers, Tucker Carlson said. But once there was a violent break-in, once cops were beat in the journey to get in and the windows being broken and all of that, and people trying to hunt politicians, and then because there wasn't an adequate amount of law enforcement officers there, because individuals such as Trump were not enabling that to happen, not calling in the necessary law enforcement entities to respond, there was so much time where they were able to just kind of wander around the Capitol once they broke in. So yeah, I'm sure parts of it looked calm, but that doesn't mean everything that happened in the build up to that and the purpose for that attack wasn't what it was. So strange, and like I said, quite the faceplant. And then we have, let's see, Republican Senator Tom Tillis calling this BS.
A lie.
I think it's bull. I was down there, and I saw maybe a few tourists, a few people who got caught up in things, but when you see police barricades breached, when you see police officers assaulted, all of that, or you had to be in close proximity to it. If you were just a tourist, you should have probably lined up at the visitor center and came in on an orderly basis.
The whole, oh, it was just visitors, it was sightseers, is what is this supposed to be, a practical joke or what? As we remember watching on live television, the attack happened. who is this for? Why is this such a lazy attempt at propaganda? Very strange. And then you have Republican Representative Dan Newhouse calling this out.
It's a revisionist thing that I think is unfair to the American people. It needs to be broad and clear, that it shows everything, not just cherry picked through the however many hours.
Absolutely. And then finally, getting away from the Republican lawmakers, there was an internal message sent to the Capitol Police after this by the police chief, who said this accurately. Last night, an opinion program aired commentary that was filled with offensive and misleading conclusions about the January 6th attack. The opinion program never reached out to the department to provide accurate context. One false allegation is that our officers helped the rioters and acted as tour guides. This is outrageous and false. The department stands by the officers in the video that was shown last night. I don't have to remind you how outnumbered our officers were on January 6th. Those officers did their best to use de-escalation tactics to try to talk rioters into getting each other to leave the building. The program conveniently cherry-picked from the calmer moments of our 41,000 hours of video. The commentary fails to provide context about the chaos and violence that happened before or during these less tense moments. And so what he's likely referring to there was Tucker Carlson's attempt to frame the video you're about to see on screen next to me as proof that the QAnon shaman was working with the Capitol Police. Because look, he's walking with them. They're escorting him peacefully. And by the way, very intentionally, I'm not giving Tucker Carlson the respect of getting to spew his nonsense, the narration over this, but to give you context about the video that was being referred to by the police chief there. And what Tucker Carlson's trying to portray, like I said, was this coordination between some of the rioters and the police. So that must mean there was a big conspiracy, and it wasn't actually what originally discussed and witnessed and observed. But as the police chief said, there was a limited number of police officers. And so because of that, they had to adjust and adapt and make decisions on the fly about how they were going to respond, knowing that they didn't have enough officers to get a hold of everyone, respond with the level of aggression they may have otherwise. And that's the decision they made there. And so with the QAnon shaman, I don't know the specifics of the exact interaction there. It'll be interesting to see as hopefully more honest media outlets are able to get their hands on the security footage and see what Tucker Carlson was kind of doing there. But likely they were saying, all right, QAnon shaman, we're trying, everyone almost has been cleared out. Now we need you to bring us to who is remaining in this building and help us get them out. And then there was an awareness from the police officers that everyone's face was on camera and they would get arrested later. But for now, we just need to get everyone out of the Capitol. If that means walking around with the shaman and having him point us in the direction of other rioters and assisting in that process, all right. And then we'll deal with later after the Capitol is safe and secure, holding these people accountable. So dishonest from Tucker Carlson. And even Republicans are able to recognize that, as well as the police chief in that internal message accurately identifying the dishonesty, the deceit involved in Tucker Carlson's propaganda campaign with January 6th. And as I mentioned, what is so important to focus on is that the reason these conspiracy theories are being told, the reason that Tucker Carlson is doing this and all of it is because January 6th, what it was being a horrible day and what it represented, the assault on our democracy, both that day and the surrounding events of Trump trying to stay president despite losing the election, trying to get an alternate slate of electors and pretend that he actually won. And look, oh no, now I have to be president and we can't do the peaceful transition of power. That's what was going on. Those lies that were justifying his actions over the course of weeks, trying to keep himself in the White House despite losing, were the same lies that motivated the rioters to attack the Capitol. And focusing on that is not beneficial for someone like Tucker Carlson. And so instead, he has to distract. And that's what we're seeing here. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel.